Om Prapanna-Parijātāya Totra-Vetraikapānaye Jnāna-Mudraya Krishnaya Gītā-Mrtaduhe Namaha. Pranams everyone. We are in chapter 5, Sloka number 16. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Jnānena tu tad ajnānam yesham nashitam atmanah tesham adityavajnānam prakāṣayati tatparam. So Bhagavan, after clearly calling out that it is the ignorance is the cause for all our sorrow, and ignorance is the reason why we are deluded. Here he is giving the information, or he is giving the information that once we get the knowledge illumines the ignorance of knowledge, it illumines such that the ignorance of Atma is removed immediately. The ignorance of Atma is destroyed by knowledge. Tad ajnānam atmanah nashitam. By what? Jnānena. So the knowledge of Atma will remove the ignorance about Anatma, or ignorance about both Atma as well as Anatma. So this is a very important sloka, because here it clearly calls out why we are deluded, what is the cause for our delusion, and because of delusion we have got sorrows in our lives. And the root cause for all these sorrows is delusion. The cause for delusion is ignorance, and therefore only knowledge can remove this ignorance, and therefore will be able to remove the sorrow from our lives. Otherwise, what we would be thinking that the sorrow is caused by others around us, people around us. And whatever we are trying to change in our lives are only temporary reliefs and do not address the root cause. The root cause for our sorrow is ignorance. Ignorance about what? Ignorance about ourselves. And as I said in the last class, first of all, we don't know our true nature. But before that, the fact that we don't know about our true nature itself is kept as a secret from us until we come to śāstras. Until we come to śāstras, we don't even know that we are ignorant. So, because of that, we don't even realize what is the root cause of our problem. We don't even suspect that ignorance is the problem. Ignorance of what? Ignorance of self, ignorance of Atma. And what is this Atma? Especially in this chapter, in the previous chapter, what is being reinforced again and again is that we should understand Atma to be akarta and abhokta. We should not understand Atma to be the karta or bhokta. In Sankhya philosophy, again, what is karta? As the one who is doing the action. What is bhokta? As the one who is enjoying the results of the action. Our philosophy says Atma is neither a karta nor a bhokta. In Sankhya philosophy, they understand Atma to be not a karta, but they take it as a bhokta. That is also not correct, because we saw in the previous slokas, Bhagavan said Atma is to be not a karta, not a karayita, not a bhokta. He clearly said, and therefore not a bhojayita also. Atma is Jnāna-Swarupa. Atma is Ananda-Swarupa. Atma is Tripti-Swarupa. And because of this ignorance about this Atma, Bhagavan says, Jantavaha muhyanti. That we saw in the previous sloka, 15th sloka. Ajnāna-Paripāka jnānam tena muhyanti jantavaha. Human beings or beings are deluded. And therefore, how do we get moksha? through knowledge. If ignorance is the cause for sorrow. If ignorance is removed, the person attains Brahman. Now the next question is, we understand that knowledge is required to remove ignorance. Now how to attain this knowledge? That Bhagavan had given in the 4th chapter already, in Sloka 34. 4th, Tadviddi Praṇipātena Paripraśnena Sevayā. Praṇipātena, by full surrender and humility to the Guru and Shastras. Paripraśnena, by asking questions, by clarifying doubts. Sevayā, by dedicated service to Guru, Shastra and doing spiritual practices. So Jnana has to be attained through Guru and Shastras. That is why we call Shastra as a pramāṇa. Pramāṇa means instrument of knowledge. And our Shastras are so good that first it tells us, it gives us, it reveals to us first that the fact that we are all ignorant and that ignorance is the cause of knowledge. It helps us to understand that, and then it also gives the remedy of knowledge. So initially, how do we actually, if we have to traverse, first is we have Ajnāna, which is ignorance. And then once we have ignorance, but we are not aware in the first place. Now when we come to Shastras, when we study Shastras, then we understand that we have ignorance, or we are ignorant about the self. So the first thing that we have to do is to recognize that ignorance. And to recognize ignorance itself, we need Guru and Shastras. Otherwise, in our day-to-day lives, we would continue to blame people around us for all the problems. Then ignorance is recognized. Then we have to seek knowledge. Again, to seek knowledge, we will need Guru and Shastras. And by seeking knowledge, we understand what are the qualifications that are needed. Qualifications: vivekam, vairāgyam, śamādi-ṣaṭka-sampatti, śāstra, then mumukṣutva. The 4 Ds: discrimination, dispassion, desire and discipline. Then by getting these qualifications, we get qualified for Jnāna. We get Jnāna Yogyata. And then we get Jnana, which is self-knowledge. And as soon as the knowledge dawns upon us, we get liberated. Where does Bhagavan say, as soon as the knowledge dawns upon us, you are liberated? Here it says, in this Sloka, Jnānam prakāṣayati tatparam ādityavat tesham. Tesham yesham tat ajnānam ātmanah nāṣitam nānena. Knowledge illumines this Ātma like the sun. Jnānam prakāṣayati tatparam ādityavat. So immediate. Liberation is immediate. Now this is the entire Vedanta. Now the next Sloka, Bhagavan is going to say how this knowledge converts itself into giving moksha for that person. So knowledge illumines a person, knowledge illumines Ātma. Until that, Bhagavan has said in this Sloka. But how does this illumined knowledge, or this knowledge about Ātma, will result in moksha? That Bhagavan is going to say in the next Sloka. Since now we eat food, but within the body that food gets converted into nutrients, vitamins and all kinds of nourishments. We do not even know or realize how it gets converted. Similarly, this knowledge about Ātma will get converted into emotional independence, into liberation, into relief from all kinds of cravings, relief from sorrow. How does that happen? How does Jnana gets converted into moksha? Bhagavan will explain in the next Sloka. So basically, once the knowledge gets, it initiates certain internal processes within ourselves that lead to moksha. That we'll see in the next sloka. We'll go to sloka number 17. Tadbuddhayastadātmānah tannishtāstatparāyanāha gacchantyapunarāvṛttim Jnāna-Nirdūta-kalmaṣāha Tadbuddhayastadātmānah tannishtāstatparāyanāha Gacchantyapunarāvṛttim Jnāna-Nirdūta-kalmaṣāha. So, in this sloka, two important concepts are discussed. The first concept is Antaranga-Paripākam. Antaranga-Paripākam means the changes that happen in our mind. As in, once we get this knowledge, what are the changes that happen in our mind? That Bhagavan is giving step by step. Then second thing that Bhagavan calls out here is the benefit of such knowledge. The benefit of such knowledge is videha mukti. Moksha has got two parts to it. One is Jivan Mukti, the other one is Videha Mukti. Jivan Mukti is the liberation that we experience here and now. Then Videha Mukti is about ensuring that there is no rebirth for this Sukshma Sharira, for this Jiva. So Videha Mukti as one of the benefits is being called out in this sloka. So first one is Antaranga-Paripāka. We'll do a small vichara there. See, what we need to understand here is whether knowledge can bring about a change. For example, we see an object and then we understand the object. And say after some time, there is a change in our understanding of that knowledge. Then, if there is a change in our understanding of that knowledge, then it would mean that the way we saw that object initially, there was something wrong in the way we saw that object initially. In the sense, if there should not be any change in knowledge at all. If I see this as a black object, and then later on I take it that it's actually red, then it means that the way I have seen it in the first place was something wrong. So there should not be any change in the knowledge. There should not be change is called as paripākam. If there is a change, that means either we did not have the knowledge or we have got the knowledge wrong. And if I say I have knowledge about this object, then it should be knowledge about any object should be only the truth about the object. If I have something false knowledge about that object, it is not considered as knowledge. The knowledge on the object itself cannot change. If it is black, it is only black. If I have seen that as red, then it is my understanding which is wrong, not the knowledge about the object. The object will continue to remain as black only. So which means if my understanding has undergone some issues, if my understanding has some issues, there are possibilities for that, because there are some obstacles that could come in our way, and therefore whatever I see and whatever I try to understand as the object, it may not give me the benefit that it is supposed to give me. because of these obstacles. Maybe when we go through an example, maybe we'll be able to understand this better. Initially, I see a mirror. I see some water in the desert. Now, my understanding is that it is water. But what is the correct knowledge about it? It is only a mirage. It is only my understanding which has gone wrong. The knowledge on that particular object, it remains the same. It is just a sand. It is not water. So what has happened is there have been some obstacles in my understanding, and therefore the benefit that that knowledge is supposed to give me, it is not able to give me. So I should not be reaching it, I should not be going there to actually fetch some water, but I will still be going there to get some water because my understanding is wrong. So what happens is, as the obstacles, as we are able to overcome these obstacles, we claim that the knowledge has changed. Although it is not that the knowledge has changed, it is only our understanding that has changed. So we claim Jñāna-Paripāka has happened, and therefore we claim that I am able to get the benefit from that knowledge. Knowledge by itself is actually binary. Either I have knowledge about it or I don't have knowledge about it. Either it arises or it does not. I am talking about valid knowledge. When valid knowledge arises, we call knowledge as prama. It is always complete in itself. So when I see a pot, the cognition that this is pot, it is born. The object is revealed as it is. The knowledge does not improve or ripen, as in it is the base, then it is actually a circular thing, then it has got a mouth, now it is a pot. That is not how our knowledge actually ripens. It does not improve. It is a pot, it is not a pot. It is immediate and it is self-luminous. So if that is the case, then where does this idea of change or paripāka come from? The cognition itself does not change. What changes is the obstruction. The obstruction is what we call in Sanskrita is pratibandha. There are certain obstacles to get obstacles in the way of getting the benefit out of that knowledge. So when people say my knowledge has ripened, what it really means is the original knowledge was already correct, but its transformative effect in removing the habitual tendencies, the transformative effect was delayed because of obstacles. So knowledge as in jnana is binary. Either it is there, it is not there. I have knowledge about Ātma or it is not there. Therefore, the Jnāna-Pala also, the Jnāna-Pala, it appears delayed. I am able to recognize that I am Ātma, but I am not able to get over my sorrow. It means what? My understanding is not complete. My transformation is not complete. The knowledge of Ātma is there. It's only Ātma is Satchit Ananda Swarupa. But the Jnāna-Phala is delayed because obstacles remain. So Jñāna-Paripāka is a figurative expression that is given for the point when the obstacles are exhausted and the benefit of knowledge is available to us completely. See, when we eat the effect of the food shows up slowly in some people. due to digestion, due to the strength of their internal organs, and also. So too with knowledge. Knowledge itself is the same. Knowledge itself does not ripen. It is already perfect when it arises. What ripens in our case is the adhikari's mind, in terms of the sadhaka's mind. As the obstacles wear away, as we do more sadhanas, as we do more of Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, the obstacles are removed slowly, and what we claim as the knowledge ripening is basically obstacles being removed. In the afternoon as well, in the afternoon in the sky, it is like this. The moon is still there. At 5 p.m. in the evening, the moon is still there, shining with its natural brightness. But because of the sunlight, we say the moon is either not there or the moon is not bright enough. But at 8 p.m., when the sunlight has gone down, and suddenly we say the moon is bright now. But in truth, what has happened? The moon's brightness has never changed. What has happened is the obstacle, in this case the sunlight prevented us from enjoying the moonlight. Similarly, the knowledge of Brahman is always bright, is ever bright. The Shastras and Guru has already revealed it to us. We have already understood what is Ātma, we have already understood what is Anātma, we have already understood whom are we. But because of the inner obstacles, what are the inner obstacles? Malam, impurity in our mind. That is a dosha, kalmasham. The malam, the dosham, the kalmasham in the antakarana, the knowledge doesn't give us the full benefit. So as these impurities reduce through karma yoga, through upasana yoga, and through jnana yoga, the benefit of the same knowledge, it shines forth more and more. We are able to get the benefit. We are able to realize the benefit. So when the impurities go, the knowledge shines unobstructed. And how this knowledge shines step by step in the mind, step by step, is given in this sloka. As in, the stages a sadhaka crosses through. That is given beautifully by Bhagavan here in this sloka. So if you go to the sloka, tad buddhayas tad atmanaha tannishtas tat parayanaha. So remember, all these words are here describe the jnani. And how is the jnani? The first stage of jnana, once we get the knowledge, the first stage for him to actually go through this stage, the first paripākam, we say, the first change is tad buddhayah. Tat refers to Brahman here. Buddhaya means intellect. So those who used their intellect to understand Brahman. So Bhagavan is using plural here. For he says jnanis tad buddhayah. Those who use their intellect to understand Brahman. What does this mean? Everyone has the same intellect. We all have the same intellect, but it depends on what we are focusing our intellect on. The intellect is an instrument. So a jnani, he uses the intellect for understanding Brahman. And as we grow older, our intellect gets more and more dull. So before the intellect fades away, we should use it to understand Brahman, to get this jnana. Suppose if we use our intellect to gain more money, more fame, more enjoyment, when the intellect is still sharp, and then once the intellect fades away after retirement or whatever, if we try to understand Brahman, how can one be able to understand? How can one be able to, when we have not used the intellect, when it is really sharp to understand these things, and even then it is so difficult to understand, how would it help if we use this intellect, this dull, dumb intellect after retirement, to understand this subtle knowledge? It will be very difficult. Here Bhagavan says, Tad buddhayaha, these jnanis have used their intellect even when it was really sharp. They had used this intellect to understand Brahman. And he says, Tad buddhayaha, they have kept their intellect on Brahman. They are not thinking or using their intellect to understand anything else, only to understand Brahman. And how did they use their intellect? What was their help? With the help of Upanishads, with the help of Mahavakyas. So they did the Vakya Vichara of Mahavakyas, they understood Brahman, they basically analyzed the Mahavakyas. We do the Vakya Vichara of so many unwanted things. We say, why did that person speak like that? What was the tone that was used by that person to do? Why did he say this? Why did he not say this? This Vakya Vichara we will analyze on people and what they speak. The words they use, the tone they use, the pause they gave, everything. We even give it a color, we give it a new meaning. We take meanings out of spoken words, we take meanings out of unspoken words. And sometimes all this to understand and sort of reinforce our confirmation bias. We are ready to spend our intellect on that, but we let go of Mahavakyas. So here Bhagavan refers to those who have done the vichara on Mahavakyas, who have their intellect on that tat. Tat means Brahman. So this is the first lakshana of a jnani. Tat buddhaya, those who have used their intellect to understand the Brahman, jnanis. So the next word gives the next paripākam, change, second paripākam. Tad atmanaha, tad atmanaha. Again that tat refers to Brahman, Atma refers to Swarupa, those who are Brahma Swarupa. What does this refer to? When the intellect is used to understand knowledge about Brahman, there could be a feeling that when I understand Brahman, then when I say I understand Brahman, that means what? I am the knower, Brahman is the object to be known. So it actually creates a split between me and Brahman. But here the jnani has removed that difference. When I just read Tat Buddhayaha, I would think that I have understood Brahman, I have understood this phone, I have understood this particular object. So Brahman could be seen as an object. But Tad Atmanaha means the jnani has removed that difference. Grahita and Grahyam difference is removed. He has removed that Jñāta and Jñēyam, that Veda, the difference between what is to be known and the knower. He has known the self to be the one that has been understood. So initially keeping the intellect on Brahman, understanding the self to be Brahma Swarupa, Tad Buddhaya Tad Atmanaha. Tad Atmanaha is a beautiful word. Because first we use the intellect, try to understand the Brahman, then as the jnanis are understanding the Brahman, when they do Mahavakya Vichara, they realize that the Brahman is the Swarupa of the knower, of the self. They identify the self to be Brahman. One Vyakyakarta, one commentator said that ones who have removed their minds from Anatma and kept it on Brahman. So another interpretation of this Tadatmanaha means intellect has been placed on Brahman. Here he says the mind has been removed from all the Anatma objects and has been placed on Brahman, Atma. As in Tatbuddha, intellect has been able to understand the Brahman, but if the mind is elsewhere, if the mind still has this abhimana on the body, then there is no use. So just as the intellect has been able to place itself on Brahman, the mind too should be able to place itself on Atma, not on Anatma. So tadatmanaha, that is the next stage of Paripāka. So which means what? Until now, they have used their intellect to understand Brahman. They have realized themselves to be Brahma Swarupa. They have realized themselves to be the Purna Swarupa. This is the second stage of Jnani's change, internal change in what is happening within him. Then the third stage, Tannishtaha. Jnana-nishtaha. Jnanasya naischalyam. Jnana-nishtaha or Brahma-nishtaha, who are established in that Brahman. Again, what does this mean? See, we may study the Shastras, we may have clarity. We may have this clarity, I am Brahman. I am not the body-mind complex. I have this clarity, we can say. Until the life is smooth. When life is smooth, it looks like we are established in truth. We don't have any problem. We have sthita prajna. We have complete clarity that I am Brahman, I am not this Anatma, I am not the body mind. But what happens when suddenly some sorrow hits us? There is some pain, there is some illness, there are some body health issues. Then that is the real test of how deeply the knowledge has gone inside us. As long as things are nice and easy, we don't even need the shastras. We don't even realize that there is a need for these shastras. There was once a monk who went to live alone in a forest for some days. This is a real story. In Rishikesh, he had gone to live alone in a forest. Obviously, in a forest, there are no facilities. Now, when he was there, he developed a health issue. He knew clearly what medicine could cure it also. But he had no access to that medicine because he was in the forest. There was nothing he could do. At that moment, he observed within himself that instead of the thought, he had come to the forest because to reinforce the thought of Aham Brahmasmi. Instead, the thought of medicine alone filled his mind. If only I was there, I would be able to get that medicine would cure me of this problem. So later on, after he recovered, he shared humorously saying that the medicine itself had become Brahman for me. Aushadam eva Brahman. So when things are going smooth, for us to say I am Brahman is easy. Only when bad times come, at that time, for us to remember, recollect, use, apply this knowledge, that is where the real test is. So even after, remember, even for a jnani, even after getting this Brahma Jnana, prarabdha karma will continue to act on him. So that prarabdha karma will try to disturb this jnana. Very often it will always begin with some dukkham, with some sorrow. Dukkham will try to shake us away from jnana. At that time, if we are strong enough, if we are able to withstand it, then what prarabdha will do, it will give us more sukham, it will give us joy, it will give us money, it will give us entertainment, it will give us comfort, to see if we get carried away. And many people, they might get carried away, they will lose focus. Or it may give us fame, it may give us wealth, which are even more subtle, subtler than even sorrow. We usually think only sorrow is the obstacle. No. Anything can disturb our jnana. This prarabdha, this disturbance can come in the form of sorrow, can come in the form of joy, can come in the form of a loss, financial loss, health loss, relation loss, or gain. New person in our life, a grandchild, anything. It can be an obstacle to jnana nishta. Prarabdha is capable of taking different forms to disturb our jnana. So, not getting disturbed by sorrow or joy, fame or wealth, not moving away from jnana is tannishtaha, jnana nishta, brahma nishta, who are established in that Brahman. For this to happen, for this clarity, for this complete rooted to this jnana, that person should have clear nitya anitya vastu viveka. That person should have clarity at all times on what is ephemeral, what is permanent. And that person should have tīvra vairāgya. He must have this ability to see the anityatvam of whatever that comes in life. Not that again, vairāgya doesn't mean that should not enjoy. But when it comes, you always take it with the knowledge that this can go at any time. This knowledge can be, this happiness or this comfort can be short-lived. This joy can be short-lived. So this nitya anitya vastu vivekam is needed, tīvra vairāgyam is needed, and he must also have the karana karya jnana. The understanding that if I seek and enjoy this bhogam, sukham, I seek, I enjoy, then I must inevitably face the corresponding equivalent dukkham. Everything in this world has two sides to it. We only see the one side of it. The other side is the exact opposite of it, which also we take when we seek the one side of it. And therefore, that vairāgya, that dispassion is important. The dispassion is important to protect us from getting trapped. In fact, vairāgya is very important subject. Bhagavan is going to talk about vairāgya in this same chapter, some slokas later. Only if a person is established in vairāgya, only then that person can be established in this jnana. So, tannishtaha, third stage of paripākam. So, the first stage, tad buddhayaha, those who have been able to use their intellect to understand Brahman. Then tad atmanaha, those who have been able to place their mind on the tattva that has been understood intellectually. So, intellect, then mind. Then tannishtaha, those who have been able to steady themselves on that tattva in any situation. Whatever be the situation, they are not moving away from that knowledge. Then finally, tat parayanaha. Parayanaha. Tat parayanaha. For this word, this is the final stage. For this, Shankaracharya, he gives the meaning as Ātma-rāmaha. One who is completely delighted in self. One who is happy with oneself. Bāhya sadhana nirapekshaha. Bāhya sadhana nirapekshaha means that person does not lean on external factors. He does not lean on people. He does not lean on situations. He does not lean on objects. He does not lean on possessions for fulfillment, for contentment. Atmanyeva atmana tushtaha. We have seen this again and again. Satisfied in the self, by the self. Ātma-rāmaha. So, tat para ayana. Tat para ayana. Tat para ayana. Ayana means goal. Ayana means goal. Para means supreme. So, supreme goal. Tat, we already saw that as Brahman. So, those who have that Brahman as the supreme goal, and in that realization, finds complete delight, finds complete happiness, supreme bliss. That is the last stage. So these are the changes that Jnani goes through. This is the benefit of Jnana. The Tatparayanaha means benefit of Jnana is I do not need anyone or anything for me to make me complete. If only I had that car, if only I had that house, if only I had that money, if only I had that that amount of money, or if only I had my children in this manner, only then my life will become complete. That feeling is not there. My very being is full. My happiness is not borrowed. As in, only if this person is with me, I feel happy. Only if this person is not with me, I am happy. That kind of conditions are not there. Happiness is not borrowed from somebody. Happiness is not borrowed from somebody's behavior. Happiness is my Swarupa. So who are these people? Those who keep their intellect fixed on Brahman, tad buddhayaha. Those who keep their mind immersed in Brahman, tad atmanaha. Those who are established in that jnana, they are steady in all situations, tannishtaha. Those who are content in the self alone, not depending on external factors for happiness, tat parayanaha. Now what do they gain? That is coming in the second line. The first line is Jnani's Lakshana. Bhagavan gives them as Antakarana-Paripāka. The changes that a Jnani goes through after getting this Jnana. So, when we look at that word Tat Parayanaha, there are two possible interpretations that can be done. We saw one of them, which is what Bhagavad Pada, Shankara Bhagavad Pada has given, Ātma-rāmaha, happy in oneself. And we put that as the last stage. As in, happy in oneself, independent of all kind of external aids for happiness. Bāhya sadhana nirapekshaha, who is established in self-contentment. Now, the second meaning or interpretation is, we can say Tatparayanaha means we solve that as supreme goal, Brahman as the supreme goal, those who have Brahman as the supreme goal. Now, this having Brahman as the supreme goal can also be called as the first stage. as in Purushartha Nishchaya. Brahman is the supreme goal. So I have already know where do I want to go to. So I have already fixed my Purushartha to be Brahman, ultimate Purushartha to be Brahman, and therefore I do my goal fixed as Brahman, and because Brahman is Lakshya, I do Tad Buddhayaha, Tad Atmanaha, Tad Nishtaha. So then it becomes, the fourth becomes first, first becomes second, second becomes third, third becomes fourth. So this is another way to interpret this sloka. So because this interpretation is also okay, because what a person takes as their goal, ayana or lakshyam, that shapes everything in what we do. If a person has decided money is the goal, so where will he use the intellect? To earn money. So every attention, every actions will revolve around earning and managing money. Stock market, what happened, where I have my investments done, what should I pull out, pull in. Every day my time, intellect and mind would be focused on gaining money. So why? Because the goal is money. So we change our entire lives, we change our lifestyle based on what we take as our goal. If a person wants to be a sports person, say a cricketer, where will his intellect be? It will be what sort of photos will be in his mind, what sort of thoughts will be in his mind. Or if a person wants to be a movie director, his thoughts would be always on movies. He would always use his time to watch movies, understand movies, write everything. So what a person takes to be lakshya without their knowledge, without consciously realizing it, the intellect, the mind, the actions, the lifestyle, all will change naturally according to that lakshya. The person itself will not realize that. We ourselves will not realize what our goal is unless we actually reflect back and say, where am I spending most of my time on a daily basis? If I am able to reflect on that and then realize how much of my time is being spent on what and what sort of lifestyle I follow, that will reflect on what sort of goal I have in my life. So in the same way, jnanis, because their lakshya is Brahman, their intellect rests on Brahman, the mind abides in Brahman, their steadiness is in Brahman. Here Shankara Bhagavad has taken the first meaning for Tatparayana, which means it is the last stage, Atma, one who is completely happy, content in oneself. Now, what do they gain? It's in the second line. Gacchantya Apunarāvṛttim Jñāna-Nirdūta Kalmashaha. Gacchanti Apunarāvṛttim. Prārabdhavasane Gacchanti Apunarāvṛttim. Apunarāvṛttim. Gacchanti means they attain, they reach, they go to. Or what do they attain? Apunarāvṛttim. Punarāvṛttim means coming back. Shobhaya, Punaraya, Gamanaya, and we say after puja, ask them to come back next time. Apunarāvṛttim means reaching the stage of no return. Yad gatva na nivartante. Yad gatva na nivartante. It means complete liberation. Complete liberation from the cycle of birth and death. So which means once the body falls, they remain as Brahma Swarupa with no further body connection. There is no more Sharira Sambandha for them. Sharira Sambandham Rahita. Apunarāvṛtti means not coming back. Stage of no return. Gacchantya Apunarāvṛttim. Gacchanti Apunarāvṛttim. Then finally, Jnāna-Nirdūta Kalmashaha. Kalmashaha, we know impurities. In Vedanta, which is highest impurity? Avidya. Ignorance is the biggest impurity. Nirdūta means completely removed. Nirdūta Kalmashaha, whose ignorance is removed, completely removed. How is the ignorance removed? Bhagavan again reinforces here. Jnānena. Jnāna-Nirdūta Kalmashaha. Those whose ignorance have been entirely removed by direct knowledge, jnana. So Jnāna-Nirdūta Kalmashaha Gacchanti Apunarāvṛttim. Those whose ignorance have been completely removed by knowledge, they attain the stage of no return. They remain as Brahma Swarupa. They are free from any body or worldly connection. Kalmashaha. Again, Shankara Bhagavad Gita, he gives a lakshana for Kalmashaha. Kalmashaha we saw as avidya, as impurity. Shankaracharya says, Papadi samsara karana dosha. The impurities, and he says, starting from papam, sins. Starting from sins, all the impurities that cause samsara. When there is ignorance, what happens? When we are ignorant about the self, we have abhimana on our sharira. Then abhimana on the sharira becomes the cause for us to do papa and punya. So kalmashaha means ignorance. Why we say ignorance to be the cause, ignorance to be kalmashaha? Because it is the cause for papa. If only we had this knowledge, we would not be doing any papa or punya. But because we have this ignorance, we are doing papa. It is a cause for papa. So this is the essence of this sloka. Such people whose ignorance has been completely removed by knowledge, they attain a stage of no return. Who are these people? Who have used their intellect to understand that Brahman, basically jnanis, those who have been able to place their mind on Brahman, on that which has been understood by them intellectually, and those who have been, and the same person, they have been able to steady themselves on that tattva in any situation. And finally, those who are content on the self, they are not dependent on external factors for happiness. For them, what happens? Their ignorance is completely removed by direct knowledge, and they attain the stage of no return. Basically, videha mukti. Bhagavan says, these are the changes that a jnani goes through, and he attains videha mukti. Now we'll go into the shloka number 18. Vidya vinaya sampanne brahmane gavihastini shuni chaiva svapake cha panditaha samadarshinaha. Vidya vinaya sampanne brahmane gavihastini shuni chaiva svapake cha panditaha samadarshinaha. So here Bhagavan is giving Ātma Swarupa Lakshana. Ātma Swarupa Lakshana. We have to understand this. It is not Ātma Lakshana. Ātma Lakshana, we already saw that in between Sloka 11 to 21 in second chapter. Or also we know what is Ātma Lakshana. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma is Ātma Lakshana. Here Bhagavan says Ātma Jnana Swarupa Lakshana. Ātma Jnana Swarupa Lakshana. What is the nature of the person who has realized Brahman? Or what is the vision that a person who has realized the Atman have. Panditaha tattvam katam pashyanti. How do the wise people perceive this then tattva? How do the jnani see the world? The question can come, should we know this? Of course, why? Because only if we know jnani's vision, we can compare against our vision of the world and see how different or maybe how opposite or at how far away our perception is still from jnani's vision. How much for us to go? And who can reveal that? Only Bhagavan can reveal that, because only he has that vision. So Bhagavan gives jnani's darshana here. How does a realized person see the world? And to illustrate this, Bhagavan takes a few examples and shows how a jnani see them. And the answer for that is simple. Samadarshina. Jnani see everything as the same. A jnani sees them all with equal vision. This is Pandita Darshanam. There is a saying, Dosha Darshanam, Pandita Lakshanam. Bhagavan is not talking about the Pandita, as in, finding faults. Proofreading is a good how a jnani or a Pandita will see. A teacher, when they are correcting the exam result papers, they will be able to identify all the mistakes quickly. So, Dosha Darshanam Pandita Lakshana. Bhagavan is not talking about that Pandita here. Bhagavan here is talking about people who have attained Atma Jnana. And Bhagavan says they have Samadarshanam. What about others? Vishama Darshana. We have Vishama Darshana. This concept we will see in the next class. Any questions or comments? Okay. If not, we will see again in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.
Hari Om.